I'm here, y'all. What's up? Welcome to the threshold. Time to cross over. Well, let's talk about the portal. You know, I had to do a portal fucking episode. The portal's here, though, and it's accessed every day. There's no fucking special days. There's only now. So, what's really boring, what's really fucking boring is the same old shit, right? I mean, you could call it just being practical, you know. Fucking throw caution to the wind. Fuck this shit. So tired of it, man. Are you all with me? Let's do something radical. Let's do something fucking radical. All right? Who else has fucking got ideas? All right, let's get together. Wisdom is action, right? And action, wise action is in alignment. So get your spine aligned. Get your spine fucking aligned. So yeah, you want to like hang your spine from this thread that's attached to the top of your skull. And then all of that energy is available through the ladder, right? You want to remove the blockages. So 3 breaths. Don't be a pussy. 3 breaths from here. Turn the hands to the outside. 3 more breaths. Hands in front of the heart. Shoulders back, back flat. Just make your back flat as you can. Portal. Hey, it's just numbers, but numbers are everything. Can you hear me? Anyone? I'm just gonna keep going. I wonder if I'm getting shadow banned. Yeah, so the portal 11-11-22 seems significant. What does that add to? 8, 12, right? 12, 1, 2, number 3, right? The Trinity. And then, right, and 11-11 plus as for the time, right? Another 4, add another 4. 16, that's a 7. I wasn't thinking about what that was adding up to. I was thinking about something else, so give me a break. 7 and 12. 7 has this connection with 11, right? And that's like we see that connection right here. 11-11-22, 11-11, right? Adds to 7. 3 plus 4. Open up the motherfucking door. Let's go through. Let's go through the door. I might have to restart this because I'm distracted. So I don't know what I was going to talk about, like, because everyone has this like big thing about these moments in time where the numbers align, where the planets align, you know, astrology and all of numerology. It seems like it has a relevance because of the way numbers are so important in the way that this universe unfolds. For example, the Fibonacci sequence, right, which approaches the golden ratio. And you see that pattern everywhere, the Fibonacci pattern in nature. So, yeah, and then this vortex math stuff, I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but yeah, look it up. That's what Tesla was into, Nikola Tesla. 3, 6, and 9, right? This vortex math is 3, 6, and 9, right? This vortex math is pretty radical, the way the patterns are so like linked to each other, and how 3, 6, and 9 almost operate on their own plane in a way, their own dimension, and the rest of the numbers operate on a separate one, but it is intertwined because you have to go through those other numbers in order to get to 3, 6, and 9, you know. But anyway, vortex math, I think someone was doing a bunch of research on it, and what they find is that it assembles the toroidal shape. It assembles the torus shape. When you iterate in some kind of a sequence, I can't tell you what it is. I just know that there's people working on it, and it basically, that movie Thrive, right? The first one, they talk about the toroidal shape, how it pervades all structures. And it's really the shape of our energy body. Right, I mean, it's how energy flows it continues to flow from a singular point, right? So it goes around the outside and comes back in, right? And so it models a particular way that energy moves, and it's that's present everywhere, you know, this shape. So yeah, numbers are significant, and you know, these power numbers or whatever, that's what they always said, is that 11, right? These duplicates are power numbers. But 1111 adds to 4, right? And that's right in the tarot, that's the 4 of wands. And that means balance, but it's not necessarily something good. Perhaps it's like, it really is like a portal, because the numbers, it's like the numbers are balanced at this moment. And as soon as we cross over, it's a different configuration. Anyway, I'm just kind of speaking out my ass, getting the feeling of why numbers are important. But it's almost like you could think of it as those two currents or like two rivers meet and they have a different watershed, but when they meet, they don't mix, right? They stay separate and they flow next to each other. And also in the ocean, you can see that phenomenon where it's like two oceans meeting and they have a resistance to mixture. There's like a line. I wonder about this. Like I have too low of a followership to already be being fucking banned. But that's the thing, right? So we go through the portal, like, and then what I was saying when we first started, let's do something fucking radical, right? Let's do something as the collective, right? Bring us together. What brings the collective together is terrifying fucking threat, right? You know, it's all these psychological operations that can be used on the collective in order to galvanize their thinking, right? And you'll notice it happened, you know, in 2001 or whatever, in September. And that was a manufactured, right, response. I mean, that was a manufactured, like there was a predictable, you could predict the percentage of people that would respond to that in a particular way, right? And it was the majority. So that's all they have to be able to do is, you know, understand what's going to get the majority to jump. And so how do we come together with consensus over a new set of conditions for which to operate? Because it is, right, there's no individual without relationship, right? So it is the way that we conduct our relationships, our interactions, that it exhibits the aggregate pattern, you know, for the entire population. So how do we come together to change the conditions by which we interact, right? The consensus belief around what is the motivation, right? What is motivating people, and that you better, you know, be cautious, right? And proactively defensive, right? Because you never know, right? It is likely that another is going to be operating from that same position, and in which case then conflict begins and it causes a chain reaction. It's like a gunfight, you know, when two opposing gangs decide to meet to like try to work things out, their turf war, right? And whoever draws down first changes the way the rest of the interactions are going to happen from that point on. Basically, as soon as one person draws their gun, everyone else fucking draws down too, and then it's a gunfight and it's last man standing. I mean, that's basically how our society functions, right? You get called naive, right, if you aren't preparing for that eventuality constantly. But by preparing for it, you're inviting it, right? So it's like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, and I guess that's how this fucking universe works. I'm not claiming to have figured it out. Because sometimes I feel like I'm wired backwards, you know. That like somehow what everyone else does in order to get their life to click, right? I have to do the exact opposite. And so it's been tricky. And I'm a freak, so I don't fit in. And I want to, but I also am like critical of the pattern, right? So I'm like saying that, yeah, I want to be a part of this, right? Exchange. But the way that it's done, the conditions by which all interactions take place, you know, in general, on average, right, are from an adversarial positioning, you know. And right, to me, that is what we can correct, right? This is the radical action that we can take, and that is the big lie, right? Is that humans will, that is their nature, right? That is their nature, that they are gonna, I mean, I hate using all the same words, that everyone talks about this, right? But it's not, right? It's not our nature because we are generalists, right? So we don't fit into a ecosystem that has closely knit and balanced exchange of resources, which includes predators and prey, right? To be a predator of your own species, right? This ecosystem of society, right? To operate as if it is kill or be killed, right? That assumption that right, to operate from that standpoint actually makes it true, right? Because it's the gunfight fucking syndrome. As soon as someone sees that behavior happening, then they are gonna fucking do the same thing because they got to protect themselves, right? And so it's self-fulfilling, right? If you believe that's our nature, then it becomes true. And so that is the consensus belief that is worldwide for the most part, on average, right? That our nature is selfish, right? That it's about the individual preservation of the individual over the collective, and yet, right? So there's this big disconnect in that way of thinking, right? Because there is no individual without the collective. So to actually be a predator inside the ecosystem of society is unnatural. That's the only way to say it. We're preying on ourselves. It's like our own, it's autoimmune, right? It's like an autoimmune disease. And it's no wonder that that's so prevalent, right, these days on an individual basis. And it's almost like we also have this belief that this mayhem and death like is required. Like if we didn't have the death rate that we have, then the carrying capacity of the earth would be reached and surpassed very like overnight. So it's this weird cognitive dissonance, right? That it is that you got to protect yourself against against threat, right? The eventuality of being killed. When on the same time everyone believes that the certain number of deaths are absolutely fucking essential, right? With this whole overpopulation fucking shit that everyone, is talking about, right? And don't pigeonhole here, right? We have, even if our projected population rate and current number is correct, we have the capability for all of us to be, always have access to the exchange, right? You can exchange value no matter what. Whatever you got, right? If you need to exchange for something, if you got something, which you do, everyone has something. You can make that exchange, right? And it's available, and it's not like, yeah. So if you want to exchange, it's available. If you need the exchange, it's available. And that's what we do, right? That's what human beings do. That's how we live a fulfilled life, is to create value for others. And so this is me coming at this thing again, right? Is that it's actually stupid, right, to be in competition with each other. It is entirely a waste, right? It just wastes half of our shit, but the cream rises to the top, whatever. That's a social Darwinism. That's some bullshit right there. That's some fucking bullshit. The meritocracy, like your ability to define what is merit and measure it, is fucking severely hampered by your perception, right? So meritocracy is fucking bullshit. Right, there is merit that's identifiable, right? But what we see, right, is that we are incapable of appointing or electing qualified people, because the system, right? Whatever. I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to fucking get into that, because it's really like, it's all just a symptom of the problem which I'm describing, which is the adversarial mode of operation, right? The aggregate pattern of civilization as it moves through time. Right, and again, just looking at our track record, the history is that we just repeat the same cycle at a higher resolution each time with better fucking weapons. So we have a situation at which this is the real singularity, right? Which is the incompatibility of this pattern, of this, what results in this pattern, right? Which creates, the symptoms, the incompatibility of the adversarial mindset with our level of technology, right? The efficiency of death dealing, right? It gets too high, right? And too also laser focused, right? And so we get to a point at which, if you want to create a new society by reducing the population to a manageable size and then maintain the same fucking pattern of living, this adversarial pattern, right? That's what would have to happen, because this runaway population growth is actually due to the waste that occurs in our system, right? It's a worldwide system. It's not just capitalism. This whole play between the left and the right, right? So you remember, right? People fucking forget that the left is fucking capitalism and the right is fascism, right? That's how they're fucking defined. And, right, communism is the state controlled means of production, right? The state controls the means of production, right? Fascism is corporations to control the means of production, right? Look this fucking shit up and shut the fuck up, because that's how you define those two things, right? That's the only difference, right? So they're the same thing, and they merge the perceived difference of them, right, into the society that they are trying to build. Right? So that's what we see happening right now. We're getting fucking mixed, right, with these two ideologies, and we'll come out on the other side with like a temporary fucking stability, because everyone gets mixed together and homogenized. So, right, the portal is that we just choose, right? It's a now. We're running out of time, and it doesn't take time to get done. And to think that it does, and to measure it as an impossibility, which is the writing of the course of this ship, right? We actually don't steer the ship. We just jump off, right? We just get off, and it's not dangerous out there, is what it turns out to be, because we're all going to jump off together and then reestablish the sacred exchange, which is how we live, exchanging value with each other. I mean, at a certain point, I repeat myself so much that it's like, will you start to remember, or is you just start to feel like this is just another ideology, which it's not. It's not an ideology, because that is a position, right? It's an ideal perception, right? So ideal perception, meaning your ability to see, to perceive surroundings, right? Is not an ideology. It is completely stripped of any thinking whatsoever. And so that's the creating of the space to receive, right? So you can actually see. You don't bring anything into what you're looking at, and then you can actually see it. And so all of self-reference is, that's what that is, right? Is that whenever we look at something, we're always accessing our files, right? Our experiences, in order to qualify or quantify whatever the fuck that is, right? And so it gets colored by that. Your experiential lenses, right? Your experiential lenses. So yeah, to actually do something, instead of just acting like the earth is passing through some kind of ascension fucking space, we have to do it, right? And we have to actually do it. And what you do is realize that there's nothing to be done. That's the paradox, because the only thing that is required to be done is to permit yourself to see. You already have the ability, and once you do that, then the conditions by which interaction or relationship takes place have a new set of data. It's like a different operating mode, right? It's not adversarial, it's cooperative, right? And the comprehension, right, that if we can, because why can't we work out a way, right? So that if you know that, like, it's that old thing, like if your neighbors are okay, you're okay, right? But if you know that, like, now this is global, right? This is whatever this space is, it's like, it's unbounded but finite, right? And so it has yeah, we're here, right? We're here. We're not leaving here. Like by space methods. We need to, there's an urgency, right, to adjust our mode of operation. So on aggregate, the pattern of relationship creates, a cycle that is positive, right? Instead of this false fucking polarity that is set up in our current fucking system, which is, right, inferior virtue, right? Inferior virtue, which is you just set up a moral high ground for people, and you can get them to take that position. Right? That's what paving the road to hell with good intentions means. Right? And so people are so easily manipulated because they just want to show that they're good, right? Instead of actually being good, right? It's just like doing something bad, and it's fine if you don't show that you've done something bad, right? If you get away with it, right? So this is that false polarity, right? Is that whatever you're against, right? Doesn't matter what fucking camp you're in, whatever you're against, you are defined by that, right? And so by signaling to everyone that you're against it, right? That's inferior virtue, because that is you're it's like it's up to the perception of others, right? That you are good, right? And so you're basically considering what it looks like to others, and then taking that position because it looks good. Right? Superior virtue is you're not concerned with whether it's good or not, right? How it's perceived. It just is, right? So that the false polarity of our current system, that's what I'm trying to hit home for everyone, right? Is that this system is not organic, right? It's placed here and sold to us over and over and over again, and we accept it, right? When we accept the offer, right, then it's the damage is on us, and so it's an unnatural system that we agree to, right? We sign the contract, and that's what all of this contractual shit in the fucking Bible is about. Right? That's this whole making a deal with the devil thing. Right? That's exactly what this is. We do it collectively. We weren't born into sin, right? Our bodies are born into a unnatural civil system, right? And that's the sin. Yes, it's true. We're born into sin because this system that we live in is unnatural, right? It's not that we are this whole thing about this self-admonishment, that we are like somehow flawed, right? I'm only human after all, don't put the blame on me. And so that's actually not the case, right? We are fully capable, right? And by accepting that, because it's the same story, it doesn't matter what, again, your religion, or whether you're agnostic or atheistic, it's all the same thing. It's all a belief, right? And a belief doesn't require any fucking thing but your belief in it, right? So there's something, this, if we could approach an objective truth, right? It is these laws of the universe, right? The way the universe works, right? And it's energy and information. And, right, it is the dance of polarity. That's what causes change, right? That is the principle of rhythm, right? But this polarity, this rhythm of society that we live in, right? This is what I'm trying to get at is that we look at our civilization like it's somehow, this is just how it goes, right? Like that there's no other way to do it. Like this is organic, this is like, and but again, I tell you that it has to be sold to us over and over and over again. The same story keeps being told over and over and over and reinforced and reinforced. And that kind of reinforcement isn't required for a natural system. So that's what I really need everyone to fucking see. Is that there is nothing inside of this that we can do to fix it. We have to abandon it. We have to abandon it. And that doesn't mean chaos, right? That means we can actually have a plan to do so. And to return to a natural rhythm, right? And death, right? But it is this promotion of living, right? Because death is a foregone conclusion, right? So you promote living, right, instead of avoiding death, right? And that's our system, is this fear-based system, which is the scarcity model, which is supply and demand, which is this false polarity, right? This popularity contest, right? Whoever has the most followers is the most right? And it's so easy to fucking manufacture popularity that right, they can just fuck with us so easy just based on that principle, the tipping point principle, which is that if other people like it, then it must be good. Like if it has a certain followership, there's a point at which it spikes because everyone's like, oh, it is good. Look, everyone likes it, you know. But that tipping point can be manufactured, right? Really easy, just with cake and fucking methods. So, like, there's no way. The popularity contest is supply and demand, right? This credible truth, right? This credibility is a popularity contest, and so that's no way to determine the truth, right? Which is it's like the way the odds changed in the last minutes of betting before the Breeders' Cup, you know, classic, right? Crux, right? Because why would the odds change on a horse race based on the amount of people betting, right? Why is that? And the cynical view is because the house wants to avoid large payout, to avoid the largest possible payout, right? So they change the odds in order to be able to pay out less. But the whole point is that it's not a fucking, we're not betting on horses, right? Right? But we use that vernacular all the time to talk about, and it's a popularity contest. The whole voting thing is based on that methods of evaluation, right? Of determining value. The model that we're using, right, which is what it's basically saying that a large followership is rare, and so if you have one person, right, meaning whatever, right? Their output is good. And so, but information and truth is not a horse in a race. It's fuck. Getting spammed. Is you know, to see betting for what? See what is most popular, right? And so, and that's largely what drives people's decision making as far as like what camp they're in. You know, is often based on the opposition. You know, and so unnatural. This adversarial mode, right, which is based on supply and demand, which is, and that is somehow corrupt the survival of the fittest or whatever, right? But all of that shit is under fucking studied, and just it's another belief system, right? There's dynamics in evolution that are disregarded by the mainstream. I mean, being a generalist, meaning we don't have an ecosystem that we're we're generalists and we're self-food, is actually to share information, ecosystems and climate zones, right? Because of technology, is by sharing the collective knowledge. Right? I was mentioning the fucking means of production, right? How fucking important it is. This is where I started. You know, 20 years ago, I was like, oh fuck, it's manufacturing that's the problem, right? So, like, to go out and say, like, yesterday was election day and whatnot, all y'all are, you know, they're like a monkey pressing a button, right? The way you institute change is through the value sources, right? The sources of value. And for human beings, the value sources are, you know, what is a body is required first permit our survival, right? Right. So that's the origin of value. Our the pattern by which we operate in general as a collective dynamics and organization around sources of value. That's where you direct your fucking attention. Junior is he's such a fucking dumbass, you know, so dumb. Jesus Christ. Really? I say it to your face, doesn't even know he's playing a role. Yeah, you put him down. Right? He didn't get elected. Supply and demand, you know, credibility thing, which is the popularity more other than voting. You know, it was unnatural, right? It's a artificial rhythm, right? That actually thrives off of loss and death. That's how the currency is revalued. Not green or search on any fucking platform. If you didn't realize, go to the website and listen from the beginning. Because that way, you know, it's like you can see my own journey and climb this mountain. In order to reach this way of seeing, which shows that this thing that we have, this our civilization, it runs off of a popularity contest, which is credibility, which is supply and demand, which is unnatural. Because living just adds to the supply. Right? I've said this before, right? So continual living just creates a perpetual addition to the supply. And so if a supply is always increasing, then how can you fucking raise the price on it? Because of that. And we agree to it, right? And by agreeing to it, we take the damage for it. It's that simple, right? If you agree to it, then they have jurisdiction over you. Right? You're right. Okay, that's the yeah, I can go through it. It's so stupid. What am I wearing? Someone taking a step right beside me. But maybe I have to go it alone because look, here I am. Oh, hey, two people. Hey, I'm gonna end their lives and watch the whole thing because I just do it live, right? So the qigong is like you do the qigong, it prepares your body and mind to listen to what I say while you do your workout. I think that's the best way probably to do it, until we figure out a better way, which is the whole purpose of just do it. And because no matter what situation you're in, right, mostly the dragons you want to slay are in your head with unimaginable lightness. And that's what the qigong flip it. Every time it gets flipped back, you can flip it back on. All right, you guys, much love. I hope this, like the internet connection has been weird, and it's time, to get through. And I'm here, right? I want to go through, but I want to hold your hand, when I step through. That's what I want to do.